Breaking news! From last-minute injury updates to major concerns about star players who aren't even practicing, the Dolphins are walking a fine line right now. There are players who should be making a difference, who might not even see the field, and others, completely under the radar, who are suddenly about to carry the weight of this team. Mike McDaniel has some important decisions to make, and if he gets them wrong, we're not just talking about losing a game to the Colts, we could be setting the tone for another disappointing season. And believe me, what's happening at tight end and in the secondary isn't just alarming, it's borderline chaotic. I've analyzed every detail and have a lot to share with you. But before we get started, be sure to like this, but only if you're the kind of Dolphins fan who sticks around through thick and thin. If you've been a fan of this team since the Marino days, leave a comment below saying, "Forever Dolphins." Now, here's what's really going on. Let's get straight into it. Week 1 is knocking at the door, and we've got injuries, depth chart drama, and questionable coaching decisions that could shake up this entire Dolphins season. Let's start in the safety room, which has been completely overhauled. Only one familiar face remains, Elijah Campbell. Gone are Jordan Poyer, Marcus May, and even Javon Holland. The Dolphins went all in on a reset, trading for Minkah Fitzpatrick, signing Ashtyn Davis and Ifeatu Melifonwu in free agency, and drafting Dante Trader Jr. It's a fresh look, but is it the right one? Let's talk about Ashtyn Davis first. The guy looked like an early IR candidate after a significant lower body injury during camp, yet here he is, on track to play against the Colts. He's been limited in practice but not ruled out, and McDaniel may have exaggerated the severity of his injury. That's important because Davis was brought in to be a rotational safety, not necessarily a starter. But with the way things are going, he might be taking on a much bigger role. Anthony Weaver, speaking to the media, said both Ashtyn Davis and Ifeatu Melifonwu could be lined up next to Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's right, Fitzpatrick is back in aqua and orange, and he's expected to be the leader of this new-look secondary. But here's the thing, Weaver didn't specify who would start. It sounds like they're still undecided, which is a little concerning this close to kickoff. But what's clear is that all four, Minkah, Davis, Melifonwu, and Campbell, will see snaps. As for Dante Trader Jr., don't count on seeing him. Even though he's healthy and practicing, he hasn't had the reps. Expect him to be inactive for week 1. Now over at cornerback, things are just as messy. Russell Douglas was added just days after final cuts. Anthony Weaver said Douglas has a great football IQ and has picked up the playbook fast. But let's be real, he's been in the building barely a week and a half. Chemistry is crucial, especially in Miami's zone-heavy scheme where communication and timing are everything. The smart move would be to hold him out until week 2 against the Patriots. Let Storm Duck and Jack Jones handle the Colts. If they get cooked, especially Jack Jones, who has a history of reckless play, then fine, bring in the veteran. But give these guys a chance first. Weaver's comments about the defense being positionless are fascinating. He's emphasizing versatility and flexibility, and that's a good thing, on paper. He mentioned 4 guys who could play nickel: Jason Marshall Jr., Minkah Fitzpatrick, Ifeatu Melifonwu, and linebacker Willie Gay Jr. And speaking of Willie Gay, this man is quickly becoming a fan favorite. Signed on a 1-year deal, he's shown explosive energy throughout training camp. He's tight with KJ Britt, and linebackers coach Joe Barry called him a chess piece. He can line up anywhere, edge, Mike, Sam, and gives the defense endless options. When paired with Jordan Brooks and Tyrell Dodson, this front 7 is terrifying. In fact, if I'm being honest, this front 7 could be top 3 in the league. Yes, I said it. Between Brooks, Dodson, Willie Gay, and Matt Judon, who I'll cover more next time, this unit isn't just good, it's dangerous. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, the Dolphins could have the best pass rush in football this season. And they'll need it because the offense? Yeah, that's where things start to get sketchy. Let's move to the tight end position. Frank Smith tried to calm nerves about Darren Waller, claiming he isn't worried about Waller's availability for week 1. But actions speak louder than words. Waller was a DNP, did not practice on Wednesday and again on Thursday. McDaniel called Wednesday a rest day. But what about Thursday? That doesn't look like part of the plan. Here's the cold truth. Darren Waller hasn't practiced with the Dolphins. He's worked out on the side, hasn't done team drills, and hasn't seen game action since retiring. Now we're supposed to believe he's going to be tight end 1 this Sunday? Be real. This is starting to feel like another Will Fuller situation, or Odell Beckham Jr. from last year. We've seen this movie before, and it never ends well. If he doesn't play Sunday, I wouldn't be surprised if he never plays a real down for Miami at all. But let's end on a high note, because one bright spot in this offense is Malik Washington. The second-year slot receiver is locked in for a breakout year. Frank Smith loves him, Tua loves him, and the fans are starting to see why. His route running, his explosiveness, his special teams value, he's doing it all. In the preseason, Tua targeted him consistently. In just one drive, he got 4 touches. In another game, he caught a touchdown and was Tua's go-to guy. He's also your lead punt and kick returner. This guy could be a game changer. Now, Craig Ehrman, the special teams coordinator, mentioned some backups for return duties: Dwayne Eskridge, Taj Washington, Tyreek Hill, and Ollie Gordon. But Eskridge has a concussion, and Gordon doesn't even have real return experience. That leaves Taj Washington and maybe, just maybe, Tyreek Hill stepping in for return duties, especially if this really is his last year in Miami. The unofficial depth chart lists Hill as the backup punt returner, which is interesting, to say the least. And let's not sugarcoat it, this whole Darren Waller situation is starting to smell like another front office blunder. I mean, how do you bring in a guy who was literally retired, let him hang out on the sidelines during training camp, never put him in a single team drill, and then suddenly expect him to take the field and contribute week 1 like nothing ever happened? That's not just wishful thinking, it's reckless. And guess who's still pulling the strings behind this? Chris Greer, the man who should have been let go years ago. But no, here he is, still rolling the dice on players with injury histories and questionable availability, while the rest of us sit around hoping we don't get burned again. This is exactly the kind of gamble that could cost us key games early in the season. Now think about this. Waller was supposed to be the big fix for the tight end position. Instead, we're going into week 1 against the Colts with no clear answer at TE1. So who's stepping in if Waller can't go? You've got Julian Hill and Tanner Conner as possible emergency options, but let's be honest, they're not even close to Waller's level when healthy. This should have been addressed better in the offseason. But nope, another Greer misfire. Meanwhile, other teams are stacking depth while we're left hoping an inactive, retired vet suddenly turns into Travis Kelce overnight. And we've seen this movie before, haven't we? The Dolphins taking a big swing on a guy like Will Fuller, paying him handsomely to sit on the bench, only to disappear by mid-season. That's the same energy we're getting with Darren Waller right now. And at a time when Tua needs all the weapons he can get, this situation feels like deja vu in the worst way. Now shifting back to the offense in a more positive light, if you're looking for a player who might actually live up to the hype, that's Malik Washington. What this kid is doing right now should have every Dolphins fan hyped. He's got elite separation ability in the slot, crisp route running, and most importantly, he's earned Tua's trust. That's not something you can teach, and it's definitely not something you stumble into. It's chemistry, it's reps, it's production, and Malik has all 3. What's really telling is that in just 7 snaps during the preseason opener, Malik touched the ball 4 times. That's a massive usage rate for such a short window. And in the final preseason tune-up, Tua looked to him in clutch moments, 4th downs, red zone targets, and even jet sweeps. The message is clear. Malik Washington is going to be heavily involved, and that could make all the difference while the tight end position remains in limbo. On special teams, Malik is also the centerpiece. He's the top punt returner and kick returner heading into week 1. Now, Craig Ehrman did mention Dwayne Eskridge, Taj Washington, Tyreek Hill, and Ollie Gordon as backups, but Eskridge is dealing with a concussion, and Ollie Gordon has no return experience that we've seen. Taj Washington is a solid option, but Tyreek? That's a wild card. The idea of Tyreek returning punts again is electrifying, but risky. He's still one of the most dangerous weapons in football, and putting him back on special teams could backfire if he takes a hit the wrong way. But here's the twist. On the unofficial depth chart, Tyreek Hill is listed as the backup punt returner. And that tells us something. It tells us the coaching staff is open to going all in, pushing every weapon to the limit. Could this be his last season in Miami? Maybe. And if that's the case,